Okay. All right, there we go. Fine. Okay. Thought I was present. Sorry, I'm just having a couple of technical difficulties this morning. Okay, so we'll be getting started. Can everybody still see me? Joining us this morning on this webinar that we are about to present. For those who don't know, my name is Zulu Atishe. I and my co-chairperson, Bro Damola, we work together to bring you these webinars and bring information as much as possible so that we can all understand how to thrive and flourish in this new landscape that we found ourselves. So, in short, Thrive itself as a ministry in Global Harvest Church Edmonton, it stands as a testament to the church's commitment to all our members, total well-being. So while we come to church, we have the prayer meetings, we have the Bible study, the praise and worship to feed us spiritually. The church is also committed to ensure that we have a well-balanced life, which includes our health, our academics, our workplaces, our family. And so Thrive isn't just like another ministry in church. It's a unit that is designed to equip all the church members with the tools that they need to succeed in every aspect of their life here in Canada, because right now we're currently in Canada. For those that are planning to re-japa, some of these tools would also be excuse me. Okay, some of these tools would also still be very useful. So today what we are planning to do is it's going to be a slightly more interactive session than probably what we've been used to. We just want to bring some truths home and use some practical examples that all of us can either relate to or keep in our hands for future transactions or future occurrences in our workplaces. So Brother Damla, do you want to say anything and introduce yourself before I get started?
Okay. Good morning, church. My name has not changed. Still Adedamola Adejobi. Happy to be doing this with Sister Tisha to share one or two things about navigating the work culture. Over to you, my Olga.
Thank you. So to get started this morning, I want to ask if anybody can come up or put it in the chat what you know about the Employment Standards Act available to us here in Alberta. Have you even heard of Employment Standards Act before? Do you know what it means? Anybody? Nobody?
Pastor responded, no, ma.
Okay.
We all know the offer letters. We don't know what that means.
Okay. So I think a lot of people here are now working here in Canada. So can anybody tell me when they got the offer, what their first thought was? Like, oh, you got a call from the organization's HR or the hiring manager, and they're saying, congratulations, I want to offer you this role. What was your first thought? What was your first reaction? What was your first question?
You don't have to raise your hand if you want to respond. You can just unmute yourself and respond, or if you're shy, you can type in the chat to give your response. It's going to be interactive this morning. We promise that.
Yep. The conditions of employment. Okay.
Good.
So, like what conditions, sir? Salary.
Of course, very important.
Okay. Okay. Yes, so yes, of course, conditions of employment, your benefits,
Benefits. Good.
salary. But there are some things, and I would encourage everybody stock
Stock
options.
options. I
So
wish.
not every organization actually offers that. So
Right.
what I want to also say is, I would like to encourage everyone. It's a very public document, so to speak. It's very public. If you do a Google search and type in Employment Standards Act of Alberta, it will take you to the Government of Alberta webpage, and you would see a lot of things that you need to know. Yes, they will tell you if it's a temporary or permanent role. You should hear about your probationary period. You should know what a probationary at the period that your probationary period is, and what happens during your probation and after your probation. You should know your salary. Of course, you should also know if there are stock options. You should know your benefits, like what benefits do I have? Do I have health and spend health and dental? Do I have extended benefits? Can I get prescription glasses? Can I go for massage and acupuncture? You should also know what benefits they offer, because some offer very, very like nice benefits that some could even pay for your child's daycare. If you have a child in daycare, you should know if your employer has a pension plan, or if they have an RRSP match plan. So we're not going to probably go into all these in details, but those are some of the things that you should know when you get an offer. Yes, you're excited about the offer, but some things you may need to weigh, especially if you currently have a job and you're just looking to upskill. So you need to know what the new organization is offering you vis-a-vis what you have currently. And Brother Mola has kindly helped put that link in the chat so that we can all go. You should also know what the minimum wage is in the province that you're working in, so that you know if you're being offered something lower. Your vacation time, vacation pay, how you earn or accrue vacation. What the termination policy is. So some of this may not be in your offer letter, but if you go into the company website, you will be able to find a lot of this information. And one other one I want to quickly mention is job protected leaves. I know a lot of us like to work and we don't sometimes remember to take a break. And when your body forces you to take a break, you should know what the sick policy is in your organization, how many paid sick days off you have. And that also ties into the employment standards, because there is a standard for every province. It varies province by province. There is a standard in every province of how many sick days you're entitled to. Also, like something like severance pay, payment in lieu. If your organization is saying, okay, for some reason your contract is supposed to end in December, but we are ending it in June, what is the payment in lieu that is due to you? Otherwise, you just take whatever it is they're offering you, and then you would learn after the fact that you probably should have gotten more, and that can really bite. So those are some of the things that we should endeavor to know when we get an offer from an organization. And one thing from an experience a friend shared with me this week that I would also like to encourage everyone to start doing, which is part of the crux of what we're going to talk majorly on today, is the culture of the organization. So before I go into that, I'll just use the word review. So when some do it before they apply, but because that could be time consuming and nobody has that kind of time, if you get an offer from an organization, you may want to do a quick search on either Indeed or Glassdoor, or even like a general Google search, and read reviews of current or previous employees. That would give you a good insight into the entire organization, and also sometimes into the team, because some of the people that will put the review would put that job title, so you would know like what area in the organization they were working. So some of those reviews can really help to also inform your decision of, should I accept this offer or should I not accept this offer? Do we have any questions so far from anybody, please? No, we're good. Um, One more minute. Okay. So no questions so far. And also very briefly, I would like to touch upon something a lot of us also may not know if our organization offers or not. It's in the area of mental wellness. We call it the employee IFA, employee and family assistance plan, or something like that. So you may need to speak to a professional occasionally, rather than going like outside the organization and paying out of pocket. Some organizations have resources available that you can use free of charge. It could be in terms of publications or websites. Some partner with Tellus Health. I know my organization partners a little bit with Tellus Health, and with Tellus Health, you would have access to some therapists if you do need it. And in some cases, some also give your child access if it is required to help or assistance with their education, if there are challenges, any kind of, so there are like a multitude of things some organizations offer, and you would not know if you're not aware. Basically, like, if you don't know it is there, you will just be paying money out of pocket, or even totally missing out because you're like, I can't afford this out of pocket. So these are some of the things that we just want to highlight to us today. We should always, like, I don't know if in some organizations they will give it to you like a book. It's called the employee handbook. In some organizations it would be like in the company website. You should always read the employee handbook, because it will have a ton of information there for you. And lastly, from my end this morning, is the issue, or is the discussion of union. You should also know if the position you are getting, if the organization itself as a whole is unionized, one, and then if the position you are getting is also unionized. If you're going into a unionized position, you should read the CBA. The CBA is the collective bargaining agreement. So that is what the union reps and the organization have come into agreement with for all union members, and sometimes non-union members. If you are in a position in your organization right now in the union, you should know your CBA, especially what it says about a lot of things. You should know who your union rep is. And dare I say, even if I don't like it, if you ever get an email or a note from your manager asking you to a meeting, contact your union rep. I will not say more than that. It may not be needed all the time, but you don't want to go in without enough knowledge, or without enough coaching, because I've seen this. Like, there are lots of things we've seen happen. So you just get a random email without context, or even sometimes with context. You may want to find out some more information, and you may want to contact your union rep so that you have representation in that meeting, so that you don't get tripped up, so to speak. Does anybody have any questions so far? Everybody's quiet, though. I'll soon become quiet too.
So this is Josephine Moka. Good
Okay.
morning.
Good morning, sis.
So I want to ask, is it best to like be in jobs that have union? Because coming from my experience back home, people always fear stuff like this. I always wonder, like, are you always protected at all times here? Like, if you see a job that maybe pays well but no union, and you see one that does not pay so well but you're unionized, what do you do? Do you prefer that?
It's so
It depends.
I was
It's like
about to.
the favorite child language.
Yeah, it depends. So if it's a company that is not even unionized at all, like the entire organization does not have any kind of union representation, then it's a moot point, because it's going to be the same thing that applies to everybody. So, but if you're going to an organization that some positions are unionized and some are not unionized, I wouldn't say you shouldn't take a job because it's not in the union. Because guess what? If you're in the union, you can still get fired if you misbehave. So it's not a yes or no answer. Honestly, being in the union, well, I typically would never be in the union. Brother Mala would probably never be in the union. So that does not affect our decision to either accept an offer or not. But as someone just, going into an organization, uh, you have some sort of protection if you have an organization, if your position is in the union, because like I said, there is a bargaining agreement that governs the rules of engagement. However, if there is a job that you want and that position is not in the union, all you can just do is do some findings, go on LinkedIn, put in the name of the organization, look for employees in the organization, find one or two people you can connect with and have a discussion with them on your fears, so to speak, or your observations and what you think. I know I have given an offer to someone before and she didn't take it, even though it was a position in the union. It was a 12 month probationary period, and she was like, it's too long for me to take that kind of gamble. So that's why we always say it depends. Like, everybody's situation is different, but I wouldn't say either way it is good or bad if you are getting an offer for a position in or not in the union. Brother Anola, any other thing?
I think you covered it all. Like we're all no HR person likes a union. They can be very difficult, but it can be a very good backup for you as an employee if you pay your union dues as well. Um, for instance, in the public service, I know that there is nothing you want to do if you belong to the union um, that maybe you get into trouble, even if you're the one really at fault. The union will still come to support you to an extent. So while you've been the bad egg, union will still, follow you to an extent and say, okay, yeah, this is the point to now back off. But because you've been a paying member and all of that, and because you're part of them, they will give you that representation. Now imagine if you're completely faultless in a way, and you did nothing wrong, and maybe it's just a gang up, and maybe just personal beef with your manager, and you are having that issue. Imagine you not having union support in that situation. It can be very dangerous. So union will go to any length to want to support you. We, on the other hand, of management and HR, we don't like it, because you got a union comes forceful, strong, and all of that, which is good for the employee. The management does not like it because it's going to cost us money, especially if we go to arbitration or we go to the court. Um, or even giving us bad reputation, which we don't want. Every place we say, oh, the workplace is like family. Oh, we are family. We are this. Once you start hearing family, be careful. Um, but yes, those are the sweet or nice words we like to use in the workplace, which essentially might not be true and might not be the situation. But yes, union may be good in such situations when you run into problems. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Whenever I hear, oh, we're just one big family, my heart, I just say, I know my family members. They don't work it. They're not. You people should not. Don't don't scam me. My family members don't work in this organization. But yeah, it is true. They can use. There are so much like sweet words. Organizations can use that will make you lose guard, but you always, as the employee, always have to be on your toes, have to be on your guard. And in the next few minutes, I'll turn it over to Brother Damola. But I just remembered something in my notes that I also mentioned, which some of us do not know. And I'm going to just pick one. So you should also familiarize yourself with the Canadian Labor Code, because there are there everything in this country, which part is part of the reason a lot of us decided to move. Everything in this country is guided by a law, by a rule, by something. And where you can cash out in court is if your organization is in direct violation of that, and you are kind of in the middle, you have a huge paycheck coming along to you. So one thing I want to emphasize for people that work in certain industries is you have the right to refuse unsafe work or unsafe work environment. And I'll give like maybe a very quick example. So let's say you work in construction and you have to go up, I don't know, maybe 10 stories or something, and you've noticed that the scaffolding or some I think I'm going too far. Let's just say that you notice that something here is not right, and your manager is telling you to go there to go work. You can refuse to go in and work there. It is a law. You cannot be fired. Well, you should not be fired for refusing to do it. If you do, like I said, paycheck. So, but there is a law that says you have the right to refuse to work in an unsafe work environment, even if it's like if you work in an office and you notice electrical wires are open, like naked wires, so to say, and you notice it maybe right by your desk or something, you can refuse to work in that work location. You can refuse to sit at that desk because it's a hazard, and those things should be taken seriously. Do not do not keep quiet. Do not manage to work in unsafe work environments. If you see it, even if your manager is not aware and you say something, you have to let your manager know. A very quick example: I was working at my desk one day, and the I don't know if I should call it a slab, it's a metal stuff by my wall came down. And then so I told my manager. The first thing she asked me was, "Did it itch your leg?" I'm a good girl because I honestly should have said yes, but I said no because that is the first thing. Because immediately that kind of thing happens, there has to be like a workplace incident report filed, a lot of things. So even if something happens, your manager is not aware. You need to bring your manager up to speed. If you get injured while working, you should let your manager know. Do not go home and then go back 3 days later to say, actually, 3 days ago when I was working, this happened, this happened. It should be an immediate report to your manager, and your manager should know to file an immediate incident report. Does anybody have any question or any comments on that? Okay, all right. I think that would be all I have from my end here. So those are some of the things you should know uh before or when you first start in an organization. So I'll be turning it over to Bro Damola now to talk about what you should do or how you should do when you now get into that organization. So over to you, Bro Damola.
Thank you, Sister Tisha, for sharing those beautiful tips with us. Like we said earlier this morning when we started, that we want this to be very interactive. So we want you to ask us questions by unmuting yourself or put your questions in the chat box. Also, if you're able to share your own personal story, or maybe you have question of an incident that has happened and you want us to be able to advise you, we're able to do that this morning as well. So basically, I'll be talking about a few things. And the first thing that I want to talk about is the workplace relationships and boundaries. Yes, organizations, we use those beautiful words. Oh, we are like a family here, especially if you're working in a small size organization, where everybody, maybe just the size of 10, 20. They'll say, oh, we are like a family here and we're very close to each other and things like that. Yes, be careful, be friendly, yet be professional in such environment, irrespective of what size of the organization. Be respectful, be friendly, yet professional in what you do. This is a church space, but I still need to say this. There are people who identify as different things. Even though you may not believe in those things, they, them, uncle, without speaking too much. You still want to be careful. You don't judge. You don't, even if you judge within your heart, don't show it. Don't say, oh, so why are you like this? Are you born like this? Please, please, and please don't ask those questions. It can land you in trouble. Beyond even the organization sacking you, you can be sued. I've seen cases like that. So you want to be careful. You want to, and that goes to you too as an immigrant. If someone say, oh, so where did you learn your English from? You have the right to, because those are racist connotations. So you can take someone up on that as well. Report to your manager, report to your supervisors. It's very important. Like Sister Tisha said earlier this morning, every organization has something we call an handbook. Okay? Go to your handbook, study it. I know most of us are guilty of that. We get an offer, we just look at how much are you paying me? How much leave do I have? Is it two weeks annual leave, or how much do you pay me for overtime? You understand? But there are other important informations, in terms of harassment, in terms of the reporting structure for those things. Get yourself familiarized with those information. And if you're part of the union as well, get to understand your collective agreement or collective bargaining agreement. You understand? Read it in total. Get to understand it, because that is where we keep important information. You understand? The small blueprints, that's where we hide them. The other thing I want to talk about is don't overshare your life. Don't overshare your personal information. You may think someone is being friendly with you. They might even be friendly with you in the moment. You don't know. Things could change tomorrow. And those personal information you've shared with them could be something they can use against you in future. So never, ever overshare your life. Yes, it's good to have those small talks, petty talks with them. Oh, hi, how are you? What did you do for weekend? Oh, fantastic. Oh, hi, Hedra. Thank you for joining us. I mean, what did you do for weekend? Oh, I went to this park. It's so beautiful and things like that. Share those information, but nothing too personal about your life. Some of them will overshare their lives, and that could be like a trick for you to want to overshare your personal life as well. Please and please don't, because we've seen cases where people have overshared their personal life and some investigation happens at work and all of that, and those informations were being used against them. Fortunately, when you share that information with one or two persons in the organization, then it goes around, especially when you say we are like a family. So now your entire work family knows what's going on. So you want to be very careful. The other thing I want to say as well is, you notice some people get promoted. You may be putting in the hard work, but there are tips and tricks to these things. Okay? If you do something, please take your credit. And I'm not saying be arrogant or be egoistic with it. There are steps to it. So how do you do that? Probably you're in a team meeting. Okay, you've done something and all of that. You could say, oh, I remember when we were working on this project, I was able to advise my team, and we took that advice and we did this, we did that. Let everybody know. If you have regular one-on-one meetings with your supervisor, okay, say maybe once a month, or I don't know, whatever structure works within your organization, when you're having those one-on-one sessions, okay, bring it up, that this is what I did, document it. In fact, some people call it bragging sheet. Okay, so every week, document what works for you, what you did well this week. Okay, take note of those things. So when you're meeting with your supervisors or your performance appraiser is around the corner, you're able to bring out your bragging sheet and show them and say, oh, on this date I did this, on this date I did that, on this things I did that. When you go above and beyond your work duties as well, okay, record it. Okay, and that brings me back to the initial topic that Sister Tisha talked about understanding the basic things, especially when your offer comes in. Study your job description, your job duties, what you're meant to do. Once you have a fuller understanding of all those things, make sure you are doing them diligently. But then find ways of efficiency and how to go above and beyond. So in those moments when you go above and beyond, document it properly, so that when promotion or appraiser is around the corner, you can show them that, oh, on this date and that date, I do that. You have to learn how to blow your own trumpet. Okay? Yes, God is a rewarder of all men. But at the same time, blow your own trumpet at workplace as well, because that is what comes with your promotion. That is what aids your visibility. When people see and hear you talk about what you've done, okay? And that's human nature generally, especially, except if someone takes special interest in you and they make it their own responsibility to monitor and to actively track what you do. If that's not the case, it's your own responsibility, it's the employee's responsibility to do those things. Highlight what you're doing. And that's why you have in some organizations, when they're doing performance appraisal, it's not just entirely on the manager alone, just documenting what they see. They allow you to contribute and say, okay, what have you done? You understand? So now imagine from January to December, you've not been tracking those things. You may have forgotten some important information or some important event that happened where you played an important role. So that's why it's important to have a bragging journal. Document all of those things, especially maybe at the end of every day. If you're too busy to do that, make sure you do that weekly. Maybe Fridays, document those things. This is what I did this week. These are the things I achieved and all of that. When the time comes, you'll be happy you did. So the other important information I'd like to share this morning, which will be my last, is when there is conflict within the workplace. If you're in conflict with one person, be careful of the language you use. And when you need to follow the procedure within your organization, follow the handbook they provided, the reporting structure. Usually they will say both of you to first meet and try to resolve. If that did not work, escalate to your immediate supervisor and things like that. So please follow the appropriate channel when there is conflict in the workplace. Make sure you document everything as much as possible as well. Don't rely on verbal. Even if everything happened verbally, follow up with an email. As discussed, this and this and this. We call it CYA. I will not say the full meaning, but it's very important. Cover your back. Let me use that word. So it's important to document everything in white and black, because there will be situations, and I've seen that especially for immigrants, Black immigrants, they'll say, oh, we have an accent, so I misunderstood you. I thought you were saying this, or I thought you said that. So that's why I always encourage that you put it in black and white. You send an email, as per discussed, this are these things, this are that, and that, and that. When you have it in an email, nobody can come back and dispute that, because it was written in an email. You cannot feign miscommunication at that point, because if you're thinking something else, then you should have responded to that email and say, oh no, I meant it this way and all of that. So that helps you in such situations. So those are the few points I wish to leave you with this morning about navigating the workplace culture. But like we said, it's an open interaction. So if you have any questions, please unmute yourself, or you ask in the chat section, or if you have an experience you want to share with us, please, the floor is yours as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brett Dabola. To buttress one of the last point that you made, for a lot of people, what you can also do, if you have a meeting with someone, your manager calls you in for a reprimand or calls you in for anything. It may not even be your manager, it could be a colleague. You can always follow up with an email to say, as per our discussion on whatever forum that we use, I just want to do a quick recap. It's nothing serious, nothing. Just say, I want to do a quick recap of what we talked about. So we agreed, or we discussed this, we discussed that, we discussed this, we discussed that. The person does not need to respond, the person maybe does not even need to acknowledge, but it is good for you, so that if anything is going to happen, you can always have a record. Like we would say in HR, if it's not documented, it didn't happen. If it's not in black and white, it didn't happen. It's going to become a she said, he said, they said kind of situation. Oh, this is not what I said, this is what I said. But if you've done a recap to say, okay, so we agreed my work hours are 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. When your manager is asking you to work at 5 p.m., you can go and do, okay, so even though my work hour ends at 4, you've asked me to do this task until 5, I will do it. You're not saying you're not doing it, but you are ensuring that you are recording it, that it is being recorded and documented that you did do it at the behest of your manager.
Our HR manager is in charge now.
Oh, yeah. I know. All right. So, does anybody want to share any experience or have any questions that they would like to ask? Before I just say one more thing. Anybody?
I want to believe everyone has had one form of interesting information. Okay, yeah. Reiterating discussions through WhatsApp chat helped me a lot as a business owner. Very good, yes. My present job, I do so with emails, and that has been great help, especially because of the accent issue Brother Mala mentioned. Yeah, I can shot. Absolutely. Wonderful. Document it, yeah, please. Because those are the cards they throw. So, oh, but sorry, I have a bit of, and that's only when they want to gossip and when they want to be hypocritical. They throw the accent card. That's one of the loopholes. Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing I would like to mention, which I'm not sure we've covered, is in as much as we are saying yes, the your organization, your team members, your manager is not your friend or your family member, you should also know that it is important to participate in team bonding activities. So when your manager says, "Oh, can we all go out for lunch or can we all go out for coffee?" Don't say no. Okay, well, maybe don't say no all the time or don't say yes all the time, but you should also know that those are some very, very important little things that also would help you to move up in the organizational ladder, because they have to see you as a people person. They have to see that you are really, really a team member and a team player. So for instance, okay, your manager is saying, okay, so today everybody's in the office. For those that still do hybrid, I will not say more than that. For those that still either do hybrid or do work remotely, so you go into the office and your manager is saying, oh, since we're all here today, let's all go out for coffee or let's all go out for lunch. Yes, I know you brought your own food. Yes, I know you've got bills to pay and all that, but that $20 you're going to spend with the team, and you don't even have to, if you agree to go, you don't have to order like a full lunch. You can order like a coffee. You can order like just coffee, $2, $3, but don't say no all the time. Number one, on the account that I don't want to spend money, like my budget is so tight, I didn't plan to spend money to eat out today. Also don't say no on the account of work. And say, you know what, yeah, the one that gave me this project, you gave me that project, you gave me this, you gave me that. Yes, I know you have a lot to do. And yes, I know you didn't plan to spend money, but sometimes say yes to those invitations because they are for team bonding, and it shows you as a great team player. I can share a quick example from myself. So my manager had said we were going to go out for coffee, like go the team would go out for coffee one day, and honestly I had like a terrible something I was working on that required me to go through over 800 applications. So I just said, you know what, I can't today because I've got this screening to do and I have quite a lot of applications in it. So they went, and then in the course of discussion, so when they came back, my manager put in the team that, okay, so Abby has over 800 applications to screen. Everybody needs to chime in. So that was how I was able to do. I wasn't going to ask for help initially because I know I have a system, but because I had mentioned I couldn't go out that day because I had this work, which was sometimes could have been an excuse. The manager put it out to everybody to chime in and help. So sometimes, if you're saying no, if you have a very good reason, it could help with your workload, and your manager can say, "Oh, you know what? You have so much you're doing. Let's redistribute. Let me take a look at everybody's workload and see what I can redistribute so your workload is lighter." But just also know that it's not necessarily an avenue just to get you to spend money. It is also just for an avenue to use for you to bond with other team members, and it is really, really important. I don't know how many people would have heard it. When you first came in, they say Canadian work experience, like you don't have Canadian work. It's not necessarily having worked in Canada. It's just some of these little things. I've been, like Brother Damola said, being able to relate with everybody regardless of what you think in your heart, smiling with everybody. The little office chit chat has the weather. Oh, I don't like winter. Oh, I like summer. Oh, my family is going camping this week. Or I have a family trip planned. Those are some of the little things that would help you to integrate yourself into your team, into your organization. There was someone I became close with just because of my name. She has the same middle name as my first name. So the first day I introduced myself, I was, oh, this is my middle name. So every time she came into my office, she would always look for me. So she typically likes to come in on Tuesdays. I don't work in the office on Tuesdays. So from the first time she came and somebody told me, oh, this person came and she was looking for you just because of that name, I made it a point of duty that any other time she was going to come on Tuesday, I would switch my work in the office day to Tuesday. So I would be in the office on Tuesday just so I could meet her. So these are some of the little things that would matter in in the present, in the future, when you're looking to, get a promotion at work, when you're looking to even get a reference, so you're changing organizations and your manager needs to give you a reference. Those are some of the things they will, in a reference check, they will ask about your work, but they would also ask about how you relate with other people. And you want your manager to be able to say, oh, absolutely fantastic team player, chimes in to work with everybody, like easy to work with, provides help. Those are some of the things that would matter if in the process of a reference check that your manager is asked. I
Thank
have
you, Sister Tisha. Yeah, there is a question, but before we go to that, I just want to quickly piggyback to what you just said. It's very important that you build that relationship and be professional, like I mentioned earlier. And there's something I do every year that I send a card at the end of every year to every member of my team. And that has helped me gain some visibilities in ways that I didn't even imagine. So, like I said, I document things people do for me and what I do as well. So at the end of every year around Christmas, I send you a card. And it's not just in the words in the card. I write what you did for me that year that was special to me and I appreciate. And I send it to you. So some goes with a gift card, some without a gift card and all of that. So, and also you should be aware of the gifting culture within your organization. So in the public service that I am, I can't accept more than $20 gift. So anything more than $20, I have to report it. So within your organization as well, know that, try and understand that culture and see what's in operation. And also festive period. So Easter is around the corner. Walmart always have good sales and all of that. Buy Easter egg, share with your team. It may cost you $20, even $10, just something to share. These are the moments employees or employers will remember, not even the good job you're doing. It's those acts of kindness, like Sister Tisha calls it, the Canadian culture. That's really the Canadian culture. That's what they remember. Those small chats, those petty talks, that's the Canadian culture because they want to know you. They want to feel like I know your interest and know what you like. I know your dislikes and things like that. That's the real Canadian culture. They are very chatty, small talks and all of that. That's who they are. So if you're able to incorporate that into your workplace lifestyle as well, I think it will go a long way in helping you. Yeah. To Bro Camille's question, I would say no, capital no for me, and I will let Sister Tisha chime in as well. So to the last paragraph of your question, you're saying, has a cultural thing from back home. When you're leaving a workplace, you can send an email to inform everyone of such treatment, more like an escalation. Is this something that can be done in a workplace around here without fear of victimization or being blacklisted as it can be in the industry I work? Yes, please don't do that. If you want to give feedback of the work you've done with that organization of a particular manager and all of that, let it be within that organization. Because you don't know who will feed off that energy if you decide to do something too drastic. It's a small word. We are all connected one way or the other. I've applied for a job that one of my mentors at that time knows the overall boss. And when I told that my mentor, oh, I'm going for an interview in this place, oh, you're going to be working with Michelle. But you go for the interview, I won't say anything to Michelle that I know you. I went for the interview, I got it on my own merit, and I came back. Then she now made the introduction to my director. So imagine we've worked in a place together and I've said some escalating things and all of that. That door would open. So you want to be careful. It's a small industry here, and it's getting tighter and tighter by the day with immigration cutting that number of immigrants that can even come in. So there will be a lot of jobs opening up in the next 2-3 years. Now, you want to be very good at what you do now. So, and don't burn any bridges, okay? If someone has been rude to you, has made your life unbearable in an organization, if you're able to change department, do that, request for that. If you're able to change manager, change teams, do that. And if you have to pay the ultimate sacrifice of leaving the organization entirely, yeah, brush up your resume and all of that, go elsewhere. But leave gracefully. Don't burn the bridges completely. Don't burn it down. Sister Tisha.
You've said it, especially if you're leaving the organization. A lot of organizations there in Canada would always ask for reference from your previous supervisor. So if you've written an email, which is a stinker to that organization, I mean, what kind of reference are you going to get? That's one. So that's even that could affect you going forward getting another job, and that's one. If you have a lot of things on your chest that you have to get out, you can go leave a review online on that organization, which you can do anonymously. You can create a new, like, you don't have to use your full name or anything, but you can leave a review online to get it off your chest. But before all that, the best time to do any kind of escalation is when you are in that organization. So I see that in that message you mentioned the manager make the workplace unbearable. What did he do? Did he document it? Did he, report the manager appropriately? So if he has not done all that and he doesn't even have like any concrete proof or evidence of what the manager did to make the organization unbearable, he could come off and then you have to say it's defamation. Like, what are you talking about? You say you want to leave, we don't want you to, it could become something unnecessarily messy. So Brother Miller said, do not in any way, shape, or form. Please, if you need to rant, look for your friend, call your friend, rant to your friend, rant to your spouse. But please do not send an email to the organization to talk about what happened, especially if you've left for quite all these reasons that we've mentioned. Please, if it is very hard, talk to pastor, call pastor and tell pastor what happened.
Pastor will listen.
You can also even find a therapist. Like, you can do a one session with a therapist just to talk about, depending on what you've gone through. So we're not trivializing what you've gone through. We are just giving you the better or proper avenues to let it out. So going back to the organization, we will say is a no, but of course you can let your heart out in a whole number of other ways.
Right. Thank you. Pastor will listen, I will not judge. So feel free. You mentioned therapists, which is good. Our community does not do therapists, but if you want to try it, I think it's a good thing. But Pastor will listen. Pastor is your spiritual therapist. So, yeah.
I say every Nigerian that has left Nigeria needs to go to therapy. You may not think you have something, but believe me, when they unpack whatever it is. So honestly, and that's why I mentioned it when we first started. If your organization has it, so remember, whatever you're talking about with a therapist is very, very confidential. They cannot be shared with anybody unless by like a court order. So your therapist is likely not a member of the organization. So you're accessing the service through the organization. So it's discounted or free, but that doesn't mean the organization has a record of your files or whatever you've talked about. So you also need to know that it's just like your diagnosis with your medical doctor is confidential. If you need to take some time off work for health reasons, your doctor would give you a note, but they don't have to share your diagnosis unless it's getting to like long-term disability or anything like that. So that's one of the things we also want to take away from people, that the fear of, if I go and talk to somebody, everybody would know. That is not the case. It is always very confidential, very private, and it would actually take a court order for your therapist to review or to release your session notes.
Yeah. Mrs. Daramola said she wants to share something with us.
Go ahead, please.
Please go ahead, ma. Is she still with us? Okay, maybe before she comes on, okay. There's another message in chat. If I have a friend that was about applying to another company and thought you can trust his boss and told the boss about the other job he's applying for, no. I noticed the next day when you go to the office that he was, of course. Sorry, that was a wrong move. If you want to leave an organization, try your best, not let anyone know, even your closest friend, or at least until you have the offer in hand. And organizations know as well when they're considering you for a position and they're asking for references. Um, Tell them, if you provide a reference from the same current organization you work for, tell them not to contact them until they are sure of giving you an offer or even give you an offer. Even a verbal offer counts as an offer. So have that first before you contact my current employer. You can give them any other supervisors, any other previous supervisors, but your current employer, withhold it until you get your offer. And don't tell anyone. This is part of owning your personal life that I mentioned earlier. Not everybody is your friend. Yes, you think your current boss is your friend. No, please don't. Get your offer first before sharing. And there is something about you leaving the organization. How much notice do you need to give? Yes, we always say 2 weeks. That 2 weeks is you being gracious. You can leave the following day. The Employment Standard Act or law allows you to do that. You understand? But then we're encouraging you to leave gracefully, do what's right, close out all your workload, properly document, do a proper handover. But if you have to jackpot like almost immediately, yes, you're obligated to, you are not circumventing any agreement or anything. Because in that same employment letter you hold in your hand, especially if you're within your probationary period, employer can terminate without cause. They only need to invite you to your room or even virtually just give you a letter and say, sorry, just the same way they've done to this person. Employers are allowed to terminate without cause. So you need to protect yourself as well. Don't overshare. When you're job hunting somewhere, have your offer before you make that announcement. Yeah. I hope that answers your question, Sister Tisha.
I just want to add something that occurred to me while you were speaking. If you are, so I want to believe there is more to this being terminated the next day because you told your boss you applied to another role. I want to believe because we know people don't give us the full picture until after a lot of probing and quick. So I want to believe there is more to this situation than just telling your boss you applied to a role and then you getting terminated the next day. I want to believe there is more. However, like Brother Mala said, if you are like when you're applying, I mean, you're applying to what 10, 15 organizations, you don't need to inform your boss. You go for an interview, you do not need to inform your boss you're going for an interview. However, in the interview, you can tell the panel members that, okay, if I'm going to be get an offer, can I be contacted before contacting my references? So that way, you know that you want to, you can then give your boss a heads up depending on the kind of situation you have, or use somebody else as your reference. But one thing I want to mention in all this is when you're moving jobs, like if you're going from one job to another, you get an offer. What I can encourage is for you to warn, maybe use a vacation day. So if you have vacation days, you're going to leave that company A eventually, but do not leave immediately to go to company B. I have seen people burnt on these too many times to count. So if you get a new offer in your current organization, see what is available to you. Can you use vacation? Can you go on a leave of absence? Can you do something whereby you have not actually quit, but you are going to the next job? You want to, just see a little bit of a landscape of what's going on there and know you want to stay before you make that jump. Some of us may not have the opportunity to be able to do that, but if you do, I will encourage you to not quit your job first, go into the new organization, see what is going on there. Because I had a very, like, I had a situation where from the first week the person knew this was a wrong move. Like, so if you go into that kind of job and this is not going to work, you can gracefully resign and go back to where you're coming from and then keep the search moving. So if you have the opportunity, it may not show in the first week, of course, it may not show in the first month, but you also, owe it to yourself to try every means possible to ensure that when you're transitioning to a new role, to a new organization, you are doing the right thing. I've seen people quit after getting a new job after 4 days because because they're like, I'm going back to where I came from. So different things can happen. So if you have that grace, use your vacation time, use any leave of absence available to you, even if it will be unpaid, because you'll be paid in the new organization, and then go in there, see what is going on. I'm not sure Sister Biodun is back.
She's here
Okay.
now.
Okay.
The floor is yours, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the educative section. Well, informative and opportunity to learn as well. So just to talk buttress on what you was it Statisho but that talked about it. So regarding having to the way we express concerns in organization is very important. So coming from an African background, I mean, we have that tendency of being aggressive about the way we express ourselves, which in this part of the world is a no-no. Even when we're upset, we need to like try to calm down before we express our concerns and put in a lot of emotional intelligence here instead of blaming, just addressing the situation the way it is, and most especially trying to use the I statement. Yeah, the way I felt about what happened just now is that I'm being whatever. So the I statement, basically, and I can remember something happened at my workplace this week, and a colleague of mine who also is from another African country, and for every time she has to share her concern, even with the manager, is with aggression. So I had to call her aside and I let her know that I understand what your concerns are, but are there better ways in which you can channel it? I told her that even if you have concerns, address the issue without attacking the person, right? Put some form of emotional intelligence. And they're going to start stereotyping you that you're very aggressive and you're raising voice. The typical Canadian does not like when we raise voices at them. It's not, even Canadian individuals, it's not good to raise voices even when we're upset and we are expressing ourselves. So because they noticed the trend and patterns of this lady, another person had another encounter with her yesterday, and she repeated, no, she kept quiet. And it was another person that now expressed concern. So I noticed that she took to feedback based on what I said. So we need to be very mindful, even when they were expressing ourselves, say it and marshal out our points in a very calm and in a very constructive and professional manner. And then secondly, another thing I've noticed, each province is different. So I'll speak for Alberta. And I've discussed my concerns with Brother Damola here that I feel Alberta on its own is as if employees have just limited rights in this part of the world, in a situation whereby somebody is being employed as for a full-time role. And at the end of the day, a couple of weeks into that position, the individual was told that, okay, this client that we're meant to be working with resigned, canceled their contract, and for that reason, they have to move the client to that individual to a contract, which is a contract is a contract, right? You employ the person for a full-time role. I know that other provinces, they protect the employees more than some other provinces. And I've seen some incidences play out here in Alberta that is as if an employee doesn't have right, basically. And lastly, in the area of some organizations being structured, properly structured, while some are not. So what is the essence of HR asking for emergency contact? Shouldn't it be that in a case where there is an emergency, who is the first person to contact? Am I correct, Brother Damola?
Yes, and that's
Okay.
part of where some organization miss it when they during the onboarding process. We call it in HR, that's the most important piece of getting someone into the organization, and it shows the culture of the organization as well. So, well, few
Thank you
people
so
miss
much.
few things during the onboarding process, which is wrong, especially when it comes to emergency contact. But at the same time, it's the employee's responsibility as well to make sure that their information are provided accurately and then
Okay.
as when required as well. but the organization
Thank you
should have
so
flagged
much.
it if something were missing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. But in a situation whereby during the onboarding, all the informations were provided, and this individual actually has a file that shows all the onboarding documents and shows all the information provided, I would assume that in a structured organization whereby HR is on top of their game, there should be some form of application that would trigger something that is missing, that, oh, this client has not submitted or has not turned in certain information. Am I correct?
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
we are basing this off that every organization has something we call the HRIS system, the Human Resource Information
correct.
System. If it is fantastic system, good. The system should trigger an alert. If it is not, and someone is being negligible with their job as well, then it may not happen. Yeah.
Okay. And then lastly, my other thing is that in a situation whereby, I think it was Sister Tisha that talked about that, whereby, or okay, I think it was you, when you said that, so if you notice something or you do something and you have to document it, take the credit and let people know. But talking about reporting line, whereby in an organization, you're looking for an opportunity to help improve the processes in the way in which things are being done in an organization. And you're discussing it with your manager, opportunities for improvement. And the manager is saying, oh, I'm not the right person to talk to. This is not my jurisdiction. I would assume that as a listening manager, the manager should listen to that and take all the necessary information that will be helpful to benefit the organization and channel it to the next person. Isn't that what it's supposed to be?
It should
So
be
in
an
that kind
ideal
of
situation. Yeah.
correct. So in a situation, the person you're working with is not all the time that they even see you as a threat already, and they're intimidated by the level of what you know or what you don't know, right? So it is not in all situations that some people are even listening to feedback on opportunities for improvement, talk less of. So in that kind of situation, would it mean amount to jumping the reporting line and going to see the person in charge? What is your advice in that area? Thank you.
Okay. If I can quickly say something about the last point you brought up. Yeah, there will be situations whereby your immediate supervisor sees you as a threat, or sometimes downplay some of the advice you're bringing on board in terms of process improvement. My go-to strategy would be, and if you read well, there is a book I would recommend, The Art of War, Sun Tzu, could help you. So I love strategy. What I would do is look for a very good situation. I would not break the reporting structure, the reporting line, because that could backfire as well. But depending on what the process improvement is going to achieve for me, what I would do is I would look for wait till when the organization is having an event, when everybody is in a relaxed mode, so to say. And I see the person I think will be receptive to my idea, higher than my supervisor. Just move close, chat, start with a friendly no chat. Then I bring up that idea. Oh, you know what, Paul? I was even thinking about this the other day. And I think I briefly brought it up to my immediate supervisor as well and things like that. But I think she probably may not brought it up to your attention, maybe because of how we've been busy of late, how work has been and all that. But I was just thinking if I could be entrusted to work on this project, this is what I think and think and think and think. If we do it this way and things like that, there are chances that they will give you the opportunity to do it. And if they shut you down at that point as well, then just know that that environment may not be receptive to your ideas, and you may just want to, start finding another environment where you want to put your skills and talent to use. So in that situation, I would say be careful. Politics is everywhere, so you might have to play politics and strategy in place, especially if you think the problem is with your immediate supervisor. So you just find a relaxed atmosphere to connect with someone higher than you're able to bring that up to them, and if they accept it, good. Yeah. And then I just remembered something as well, and I think this is where we may be drawing the curtains for today's program, is please, and please, because I just remembered when Mr. Daramala was talking, if you are a male person here, and it applies to every person as well, be careful how you pass compliments about the other gender. I'm currently dealing with a case where someone passed compliment to a lady. Oh, you're looking beautiful today. And the lady said, oh, so I've not been beautiful before. That is an harassment in the workplace. I beg and I beg you, don't even pass compliment at all to the opposite gender. Don't do it. Okay? Be careful. If you are the type that laugh too much and you touch, make sure the person you're touching is a man. Or I beg you. I beg. Please be careful. Like we say, it's an office space. Be friendly, yet professional. Rule of thumb, like Sister Tisha just said, don't pass the compliments. Just save yourself the stress. Oh, if someone passed the compliment to you, oh, thank you. Like I had a new haircut. One of my assistants said, oh, you had a new haircut. I said, oh, you look good in it. Thank you. But you will never see me pass that same compliment to them. No, I would not. Because it's a slippery slope. The way some of them would misinterpret it and all of that, it's dangerous. It's a different environment we find ourselves. And like I said, yeah, even with same gender, you don't know how they identify. The Mr. John Okbosu that you see at work may identify as they, them, or may identify as her, she. Please be careful how we pass compliments. And lastly, if you are looking for a job, I would say be flexible. My name is Adedamola Adejobi, but most people know me as Adi in the professional space. And how did Adi come into place? Because they can't pronounce Adedamola. And this is where a few HR people disagree, that if they force you to learn their own name, you're the one looking for something, at least for a very first start in your career. So I make life easier for them as well. You can call me Adi. I go by that name too now. So if you have a short form of your name, if they struggle to pronounce your name, maybe you just want to come up with a very small niche name for yourself. You know, everybody back home, everybody has an AKA, you know. Adi is my own AKA now. You can always call me Adi. So please find something for yourself, because when they say our work environment is family friendly, every employee will want to work with someone they can easily pronounce their name, someone they can easily have a chat with. So if that barrier, if that friction is going to be difficult right from the onset, you may not get a job. So when you are interviewing and the interviewer says, oh, I'm struggling to pronounce your name, I always tell them, oh, try. And when they fumble and pronounce whatever they want to pronounce, I say, yeah, this is how it's pronounced, but you can call me this. Oh, thank you for giving me that. You can see that you've relieved them of huge stress. And they love that because they want to be able to connect with you after they've employed you. They want to be able to relate with you easily. So if you don't have a very strong name like some of us, and you don't have English name like Peter, please. If your name is Adekemi, maybe you want to Kem. Maybe you want to look for something nice. Okay, thank you. I'll leave it there before someone come and shoot me.
Yeah, I do recommend that as well. And like you said, like a lot of HR people, we have different opinions about that. Oh, it's my name. If they can pronounce it as a nigga, they should be able to pronounce it. I agree, but are you going to pay me my money, or are you going to pay me by my name? You're gonna just pay me for the work I do. So please, if you can, and if it's your principle that, well, I can learn their name, they should learn my name. It's your principle, you can work with that. But you want to make life easy for everybody. We're going to round up shortly if there are no other questions or comments in Biodun mentioned something about if you have ideas and your manager is not receptive. Some organizations have what we call skip level meetings where you can talk to your manager's manager. Like you can have a one-on-one meeting with your manager's manager, so you can find out if it's something the organization does, and so your ideas can be shared with that manager's manager. So and if there is nothing like that in the organization, when you have like a major departmental meeting or something, if there is an avenue for that, you can also bring in your ideas. You can drop it in chat. You can do that. Just don't let your ideas die with you because your manager is not receptive.
Role chair.
There
Is
is
it
a bit
true
of
there is hold severance for non-union staff after a number of years? So it depends on the organization. The employment standard is very clear about when you are holding severance and how it should be done and things like that. So without having full information, it's hard for me to answer this question. I would need information about the organization, the number of years you've done with that same organization and things like that. So with this question, I'm not able to give you
depends.
an appropriate answer. It depends. That's the HR word. Sorry.
Like okay. But like mommy, I've seen it. But like when we started mentioning the employment standards, it's something everybody, like after this meeting this weekend, when you have some time, go to the government of Alberta website. If you're working in Alberta, you should also know you should know some of these things, because if you've worked in an organization for 5 years, you are absolutely owed severance. So like Brother Mola said, more information is required. But some organizations, yes, you can take it. Some organizations should owe you severance if you're, it doesn't have anything to do with if it's a union role or not. Just by being an employee in the organization, if you've worked a certain number of years, you're owed severance. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Do we have any more questions coming before we call it a day?
Just slightly above time.
Okay.
Okay, so in the absence of any other questions, thank you all for joining us today. We appreciate the time that you have spent with us. If you have any further questions, either on what we've talked about today, or we've treated interviews and resumes and all that in the past. So if you have questions on that, you can reach out to myself or Brother Damola, or if you have any kind of like employment related questions, reach out to either of us. We would be happy to assist you in any way, shape, or form, free of charge. For now.
My Oga has spoken, I would have charged you. But my Oga has spoken, so I can't go against that. So if you have any questions, or maybe you want to just seek some HR advice before you go back and harass them at work, yeah, we'll be happy to provide our professional services pro bono, like my Oga has mentioned. So,
okay, thank you, everybody. You have a lovely weekend ahead.
thank you.
See.
Bye.
Bye bye.